Hey, it's Jack from Jack Gately Real Estate and the Online Real Estate Academy. So I was preparing for you to dissect the Massachusetts Association of Realtors exclusive right to sell listing agreement, because I know the California listing agreement has gotten some significant attention from the Consumer Federation of America. And I was thinking, I wonder what the MAR listing agreement says. So I got a copy of the MAR listing agreement and I'm looking at it and I was like, whoa, this is definitely a video. But then on page 3 of the listing agreement, they mention the authorization to offer buyer broker compensation addendum in section 5. And so yesterday, from one of my sources who will remain nameless, I was able to acquire a authorization to offer buyer broker compensation addendum. And this is the most recent one as of yesterday afternoon. And I'm reading this over and I realize that this is a authorization for agency to agency compensation, which will be legal for NAR members off the MLS starting August 17th. So there's nothing illegal about this form in and of itself. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, and you can get some more details if you want, if you head over to GatelyEstate.com. GatelyEstate.com. I also believe there's a link in the description to this video. MAR Realtor forms inconsistent with new MLSPIN policy. You see, the problem here is this addendum to the listing agreement, which now brings the listing agreement for realtors in Massachusetts up to something like 4.5 pages. By the way, remember, I'm not a realtor and my agents will not be using this. Our listing agreement, I think, is a page and a half. So yeah, but aside from that, it is inconsistent with the new MLS PIN policy, which came out Tuesday. So remember, this MAR form it allows for agency to agency compensation, which I imagine would be communicated off MLS. But if you look at the new changes from MLS PIN, they are quite clear that listing brokers and cooperating brokers will no longer split commissions. So, and I can bring that up on Adobe a little bit easier, a little bit bigger here. Maybe I can actually expand. Where's the zoom in button? I don't know. But that's good enough. That you get the idea. So the information that you're putting into MLS PIN is what the seller would pay. And I think there is going to be a widespread conflation, if I want to say this right, as summarized in this paragraph here. Consequently, if a realtor uses the addendum and then fills out the MLS PIN form using the numbers in the addendum, as is bound to happen on a widespread basis, the realtor is going to be conflating two distinctly different concepts. Because the form allows for agency to agency cooperation, and the MLS PIN policy allows for the seller only to be paying the commission. See the difference? Now, some of you might say, well, that's like a distinction without a difference. But, and I get your point, but that's like the whole basis of the bombshell commission lawsuit, isn't it? And I'm not sure what the legal implications are because, as you remember, I'm not a lawyer, and this is just purely entertainment and or journalism, and I'm not a realtor. So lucky on both counts, right? Doubly thankful. Count my blessings today. Yeah. So what is going to happen when an agent, and this is totally, absolutely going to happen, they're going to take the numbers that they wrote onto this form and they're going to put them into the MLS. But those numbers represent different things. On this form, they represent agency to agency compensation, but on the MLS, they represent what the seller's willing to pay. And then what's going to happen at the closing table when some astute seller and or buyer brokerage realizes the snafu here? Does it mean that the buyer brokerage is going to get paid twice? That's interesting, right? Because I could make an argument that as the buyer brokerage, that the seller owes me the money because that was what was listed in the MLSPIN, and that created some type of contract. And I could also make an argument that the listing brokerage owes me a fee as well. I could make an argument as the buyer brokerage that I get two fees. I know, what a tangle web we weave when we wish to deceive, right? And I could imagine a savvy buyer brokerage at the closing table say, "Oh, thank you for my fee. And I'm also looking for a second fee," right? What type of FUBAR are we going to have when somebody finally figures this out at the closing table? And this is something that I figured out, like, it only took me like 3 seconds to figure this out. And it doesn't even begin to talk about the complete cluster that is the rest of the Massachusetts Association of Realtors exclusive right to sell listing agreement number 709 and their addendum number 709A. This is worthy of a different video. We're not going to get into the first 3 pages. It's worthy of a different video. But the bigger picture here is a lot of these forms are not consistent with the new policy. And just generally speaking, the NAR settlement, if you're a realtor, is different than the policies that MLSPIN are embarking on. And it might be a situation that if you continue to comply with the MLSPIN policies, you might be in violation of the NAR settlement. If you're a realtor, remember, I'm not a lawyer, you go get a lawyer because it sounds like you're going to need one. All right, so I'm Jack from Jack Gately Real Estate and the Online Real Estate Academy. You have a great weekend. Bye-bye.